Yo, welcome back to another video. In this video, if you can't tell by what's on the screen right now, I'm going to be ranking all of the companions in the original Mass Effect trilogy. We don't talk about Andromeda because I've heard it's bad and it doesn't even follow the main story in the first 3 games. I haven't posted gameplay of this that much. I talked about it in one of my previous videos, how I've played the Mass Effect games, but the ending broke my heart, and I'm still coping, so this is my way of coping. Just going to be ranking them based on, how they do in, how they actually do in combat situations, their character arcs, and the interactions you can have with them. Again, this is my opinion on the characters. It's based off of, my experience with the characters as well, because a lot of my opinion depends on, who I chose to bring to certain missions with me, and who I chose to actually talk to and get to know better and learn more about them, or romance, or whatever it may be, So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you've played these games. But yeah, I'm just going to get right into it. Starting off strong with Ashley Williams. Starting off real strong. Ashley Williams could have been a better character in my opinion, but then she just ruins it, or I guess the writing of the game ruins it. She's kind of like, if you're male Shepard, well for me, let me preface this. When I played Mass Effect 1, the second to last mission I did was rescuing Liara. Don't know why I pushed it off. I didn't know anything about the game. I went into the game blind. I didn't know it meant I was getting another companion and potential love interest. So literally, my only option to romance at the time was Ashley Williams. So I was like, sure, why not? It's just a game, you're there. She's super racist at first. She hates aliens, which is not good. But if you play as Paragon Shepard, you can kind of warm her up to, interacting with other aliens and whatnot. But in Mass Effect 2 and 3, man, this relationship just gets the shaft. In Mass Effect 2, she's hardly in the game, like hardly at all. And when you do see her, she just tells you off saying you stink for being alive again thanks to Cerberus. And then in Mass Effect 3, if you chose to romance someone in Mass Effect 2, she gets pretty mad in most instances, where if you, like I did, had intimate interactions in Mass Effect 2 with multiple characters, it's possible, she gets pretty mad. And then in the Citadel DLC, she's flirting with James. If you choose to have an energetic party, at the end, she'll be flirting with James, and they'll be talking about hooking up. And I don't know if this interaction occurs if you're romance with Ashley. If it does, that makes this even worse. But the fact that she was so angry at you, and then depending on when you complete the Citadel DLC, my first time playing through Mass Effect 3, I hadn't chosen a romance yet. And I was still in the process of talking to Ashley. So when I specifically completed the Citadel DLC, because I did the Legendary Edition, I didn't even know it was DLC. I see them talking, and I'm like, bro, I'm actively trying to rizz you up. What are you doing? So that's why she's an instant F tier character for me personally. Edie's really cool. I'll put her in A tier. She's a good member on the crew. She's pretty funny at times. I like the dry sense of humor. I like the relationship that she can have with Joker. She lacks a little bit in a firefight, but her abilities are pretty good. Her tech abilities are helpful. But I think most importantly, story-wise, she serves a very big purpose. When the Collectors attack the Normandy in Mass Effect 2, she tells Joker what to do to, save the ship and pretty much save the entire crew eventually, right? Because if she wasn't there, doing her thing, then Joker probably would have gotten kidnapped as well, and then I just don't see it going well without her present. And then her contributions in Mass Effect 3 are critical. I mean, at every step of the way, she takes over the body that she's in right now to try and get any of the data about the Crucible from it. And then in the last mission, Priority Earth, she's reroute the targeting systems with the Normandy, whatever, so that the missiles work to kill the Reaper on the ground. So she's super important, super funny, all around good character. Garrus, instantly S tier. Garrus is your bro. If you don't talk to Garrus, you're lame. He's overpowered in combat. He stands by your side. He's got good jokes. And he's a companion in every single game. You get to see him early in every single game. I really felt like I developed a bond with him, going through all 3 games. He's my boy, And if anyone thinks any different, if anyone ever gets him killed, that just breaks my heart. Moving on, that's Grunt. I like the Krogans in the games. I think they're pretty funny, and their backstory is pretty tragic. I just wish we saw more of Grunt in Mass Effect 3. We saw him for the one mission with the Arachni. It's good knowing that like he can survive, but I wish we saw more of him. And in the Citadel DLC, he's acting as bouncer, and it's so funny. He just keeps telling everyone no.
I told you already. No. Yes, I like pie. And no, you can't come in.
It's such a good interaction. Oh, why not? Yeah. Sorry, Jacob Taylor. He's just a wet piece of cardboard. He's so boring. His loyalty mission's kind of cool, but every other squad mate can do the job that he's meant to do better. And apparently, if you romance him as female shepherd, like he'll cheat on you in the third game. Which so yeah, he's right down there with Ashley. Jack is extremely strong, a pretty compelling character, someone who's pretty closed off from the rest of the world. But I like the kind of military role she takes on in the third game. Helping students, kind of providing that guidance that she never really got herself. So she's kind of fulfilling the role that she wished someone had for her. So I think that's a really great character story to go through. Again, just wish we saw more of her in the third game. But I'll put her in B tier. James, I'm gonna put him in D tier. No, I'll put him in C tier because the one line about getting the munchies in the Citadel DLC is hilarious.
What's with the Volas? Oh, pizza delivery guy. I got the munchies.
But he's not my favorite character. I really wasn't interested in getting to know someone new at the very beginning of the third game, when there's this whole cast of characters I was expecting to, return from the second game. So it felt like the room was getting a bit crowded, personally. But he's just another foot soldier. He's loyal to Earth. What's really funny is that I was so uninterested in him that I didn't bother going down to the shuttle bay to talk to him until like very late in the game, where you have that fist fight with him. And I think I had a unique dialogue interaction with him that not many people have, where he's like, didn't think you knew where to find me down here. Hadn't stopped by in a while. He says something like that, and I was like, probably not many people experience that because, they try and talk to all the crewmates, but I just stink and I didn't care about James. So that was pretty interesting for me to experience. But other than that, I think, Garrus is just a better option in a firefight. He's got some interesting details about his previous mission and, being a part of the N7 program. But just not all that interesting to me overall. Kind of funny, a good, side character, but not better than some of the other ones here. Javik, okay, things are starting to get a little tough. I'll put Javik just above James a little bit. Javik he's Prothean, which is insane in terms of lore details and the payoff in the game. The fact that we're talking to a real Prothean after hearing about them as some sort of faraway fantasy in the first game, and then in the second game it's all the collectors they used to be Protheans. So talking to an actual Prothean and learning about their culture and whatnot was pretty cool at some points. But to me, I think some of his dialogue that was meant to be comedic just didn't land for me, and his journey from viewing all the other races in the universe that were primitive during his time now being in control, him not really having respect to them to having respect for them. I wish it was honestly expanded upon more. I think there could have been more conflict with some of the other crewmates. He could have had some unique dialogue with Garrus or Tally or Liara just about what he thought of them back then versus how we've seen them grow now, and I feel like we didn't get as much of that as I wanted. So he's going in C tier. Caden Alenko, another piece of wet cardboard. He's going in D tier. I just wasn't super interested in talking to him in Mass Effect 1. He's just kind of boring to me. I saved Ashley on Vermeer, and he was like, it's the right choice. He didn't even seem that upset about it. But apparently in the third game he can be gay. So that's kind of cool for representation. But yeah, I wasn't really super interested in his character. Just another human guy walking around. He's got some biotics though, so that's cool. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about him. Kasumi, to me, she's a good comedic relief. I wish you could have some actual... I liked her mission in Mass Effect 2. I thought it was very unique compared to the other missions in the game. And I like her comments that she makes on your interactions with other people on Normandy. She's a thief. She's got this invisibility cloak. She can kind of lurk around and see things that other people can't. So I liked her comments, but again, I wish we got more of her in the third game. She has one mission, and she can show up in the Citadel DLC party, just continuing to make jokes, and that's it. It makes me feel like, they didn't really have anything planned for her after the second game. She really takes a backseat. What's even more interesting is that my first playthrough of Mass Effect 3, I didn't find her mission, I didn't do her mission. So on like the board of all the people who died, it just says that she died. So if you don't do her mission, she just dies. And I thought that was like a really stupid decision, because to start her mission, you talk to some Solarian Spectre. You don't even talk to her. So how would I even know that it's like her mission? That was a bit disappointing to me. Like that even in her own mission, she kind of took a backseat. Whatever, they're DLC in the second game, so they can't expect everyone in the third game to, you know, have purchased the DLC and know the character. So I kind of get it, but I still wish that they were a bit more involved. Liara, I'm going to put Liara in A tier. I mean, that's kind of a gimme. She's present through all 3 games. Well, she has DLC in the second game, but her DLC in the second game is really good. And some people say she has like the most like complete romance throughout all the games. But to me, I always kind of saw, I kind of had like a level of like respect for her, in the sense of like we're not like, I don't know, I just didn't see it like we were like partners on this journey, and we weren't like romance interests. Like I just saw them better as like a platonic friendship. I don't know why, but that's just how I saw it. Maybe it's because I didn't rescue her in the first game until like very close to the end, so there's probably a side of her that I missed. But she's super critical to the story. She's pretty decent in fights. Her biotic weapons are really good, and her DLC was really good, so she's kind of a gimme to put in A tier. Legion, I'll put him in the middle of B tier. I want to put him higher because the thought of a Geth being one of your squad mates is really cool. And when you do the Shadowbroker DLC and you look at his profile on like her terminal, like you see that he has like a bunch of hours in like gaming, and he like donates to like charities and stuff, which is just like really cool, and shows that like the Geth are more than just like this hive mind AI. Like Legion definitely has a lot of individuality to him, but I wish they did more. I wish they did more with him. The way, from like a gameplay perspective, how his mission is tied to like one of like the many like points of no return is really difficult, and you get him so late in the game, it feels like you don't spend a lot of time with him. And then in the third game, no matter what you do in the third game, Legion dies. Spoiler alert, Legion dies. Whether you save the Geth and sacrifice the Quarians, Legion has to die. Whether you save the Quarians and sacrifice the Geth, you know, you kill Legion. And even if you broker peace between both, he has to die, which I think it stinks that there's like no option. Even if you made choices like in the previous 2 games, like there's no option where Legion can somehow survive, which bothers me because they did that exact thing with a different character, which we'll talk about shortly. So really, he's not higher because I wanted more from him. He played a very critical part in the game, in the lore. You know, the Quarian Geth conflict has been going on for so long, but I wanted more from him. I wish we didn't get him as late in the game. So yeah, that's why he's in B tier. Miranda, low D tier. Just not a fan. I'm not a fan of the Ice Queen type of personality, where they're super closed off and then they slowly warm up to you. But all the time she's like, my genetic perfection and sculpted body are just, they're awful, and I can't do anything right. Like, girl, you brought me back to life. Like you're just fishing for compliments, and you're not gonna get any from me. Like, stop. Like, she's just a pick-me girl. She's an Ice Witch pick-me girl. And again, in the third game, she takes such a back seat. You know, you have a few conversations with her on the Citadel, and then she's in one of the later missions. But again, she's not a companion. The Citadel DLC helps because she can come to the party and whatnot. Takes a super huge backseat. I'm not interested in that type of personality. So she's below the wet cardboard that is Caden Alenko for me for the bit. Morden is in S tier. This man is so funny. I think a big part comes in, I love his voice acting and the dialogue for him. It's very straightforward, to the point. It shows some empathy, has some comedy. He sings if you talk to him enough times. He'll do a little song. He's just a really cool guy, and I love his tie-in with the Genophage. Hearing about the Genophage in Mass Effect 1, its impact on the Krogan, to, you know, that potential Genophage solution on Vermeer, to meeting someone, Morden, in Mass Effect 2, who worked on the Genophage and played a big part in it, and he defends his work pretty thoroughly. He thinks it's the right thing to do. He calculated variables, and it's the right thing to do. And then in the third game, he comes to really, depending on your choices, he comes to question his work, where he says that now curing the Genophage is the best thing to do for the Grogan people, and he still supports his decision previously. I think the fact that your choices impact how he views his own choices and his opinion on his work with the Genophage, I think that is super well done. Also, this is what I was alluding to when I talked about Legion. Choices you made in the previous games can lead to Morden's living. Unfortunately, in my playthrough, Morden did not live. But I was very happy to find out that if you make certain choices in the previous 2 games, Morden can survive all the way through to the end of the game, which is great. You know, it wasn't like Legion where no matter what you did, he has to die. There is a chance, there is an instance based off of your choices where Morden can live. And I think that is a great gameplay, great story design, showing that in these games your choices really do have an impact on the galaxy around you. So I really like Morden for those reasons. Thane's going in A tier. Not only was Thane just like exuding aura all the time in Mass Effect 2, his sacrifice, sorry, spoilers, his sacrifice in Mass Effect 3, if he survives the Collector mission, is really sad. It's really pulls at your heartstrings. And his final prayer, when he's reading it, and Shepard's kind of like, wait, why is he saying this? And his son Kolya is like, he was praying for you. And I was like that was like a knife to the heart, man. That hurt so much. I was like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, he didn't even pray for his son. Like, he prayed for me. I was like, oh gosh. It was so sad. And then in the Citadel DLC with there's like the memorial service for him, and that was really sad too. I'm not putting him this high for pity points because he's also really good in combat in Mass Effect 2, but I just love his character overall. You know, an assassin with a long history of crime, you know, trying to seek penance for his work and trying to find forgiveness, suffering from a terminal illness, you know, doesn't have much time left, but he's found peace in his last days. And that was just a really compelling character to interact with. So Thane's definitely going in A tier. Rex, S tier. Rex definitely gives you the cold shoulder in the first game, considering your actions on Vermeer, you know, choosing not to use Saren's genophage cure, because it's not like a true genophage cure. But if you keep him alive, you know, what I like about Rex is that even though he's not a companion in Mass Effect 2 and 3, he comes back and plays really big roles in those games. So in Mass Effect 2, we see him on Tachanka, where 2 of our loyalty missions are, so we spend a lot of time on Tachanka. You know, he's in charge of Clan Erdnot, and he helps us out. And we have a lot of interesting dialogue with him, you know, his opinions on the Krogan people at the time, what he wants to do with the Krogan people moving forward. And then in Mass Effect 3, we see him again, you know, he's like any political power associated with the Krogan is Rex. Like, Rex is the face of the Krogan people now. And he shows, like, he doesn't want to resort back to violence. Like, he wants to make a change for his people. He wants his people to grow and thrive, cooperate with the rest of the galaxy, which is awesome. He's also so funny. His dialogue at various points in the game just makes me crack up, both in the base game and the Citadel DLC. He's just a really likable character. I pity anyone who decided to kill him, because although killing him is one of the steps to saving Morden, it's just really sad in the ways that he can die. It's really sad seeing him die. Moving on. Tali's S tier. We saw this coming. Yeah. She's, again, similar to Garrus. Sorry, I'm just having war flashbacks. Similar to Garrus, she is one of the few people that can be a companion throughout all 3 games in the base game. And she, in the first game, she plays a really critical role to the story. She has dirt on Saren, so you get the Council's approval, thanks to her. You get your Spectre status, thanks to her, pretty much. Her abilities in combat, her combat drone, wow, amazing. OP, great abilities. She gives a lot of exposition on the Quarians and the Geth and their ongoing conflict in Mass Effect 1. And although that's kind of the extent of her character in Mass Effect 1, it still plays a really big role, and it's someone that, even though I couldn't romance her, I found myself going down to the engineering deck to talk to her and hear more about what she has to say. In Mass Effect 2, she's one of the first people you see, and I'm like, oh, yo, that's my girl. Come on the ship. Let's get the gang back together. And she's like, no, I have to help my people. And I'm like, no, like, I understand your service to your people because, like, you're nomadic people, but, like, leave them and help me. But I respect her job. And then she comes back a lot later in the game as someone that you can bring onto your crew, and that made me very happy. And her recruitment mission, I really enjoy her recruitment mission. And her loyalty mission. Her loyalty mission is one of my favorite loyalty missions in the game. In part because you have a lot of choices. When you defend her in core, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm playing lawyer. When you find out what her father's doing with the Geth parts that she sends, which is also very sad. You can choose to expose the truth of her father and save her from being banished. You can, keep that stuff hidden as per her wishes. And she does get banished, but she actually prefers that as opposed to you telling the truth about her father. Or if you pass a speech check, you can keep the truth about her father hidden and stop her from being banished. So you have a lot of choices as to how you want to approach this mission, depending on your level of interest in, talking to Tali as a character. And that's really cool. Tally in Mass Effect 2, after dealing with Ashley's bullshit, I decided to romance Tally, and that was just a really cool character interaction. You know, seeing her kind of come out of her shell, just be like kind of like nervous around Shepard, whereas before she was like super informative, like has so much interesting stuff to talk about the gas, like clear speaker, like a good speaker, and then like all of a sudden she's like well, this is embarrassing, and I thought that was really funny to see like a completely different side of a character. Whereas in a lot of other romances, it's like it's the same exact character, but they just kind of like you a little more. Whereas in this one, I feel like you get to see a completely different side of someone else that you wouldn't see otherwise, which I thought was really great. Being able to continue that into Mass Effect 3, you know, as long as you save the Quarian people on Rannoch. Just the little interactions they have, like going on to like the Geth ship, the one Geth ship mission, and going to Rannoch. Those little interactions are just so awesome. Bro, that last like the last mission, Priority Earth, the last thing she says to you, man, that just hurts. It just hurts so much.
Here, take her.
Shepard!
You gotta get out of here.
I can't stay behind.
Don't argue with me, Tally.
Don't leave me behind.
I need you to make it out of here alive, Tally. Get back to Rannoch. Build yourself a home.
I have a home. Come back to me.
Just to suffer. Every night, I can feel my leg and my arm, even my fingers. The body I've lost.
Because you come to learn throughout the games how important having a home is to her and her people, and then when she says she already has a home in Shepard, after we already got her home planet back, tear. I need a fourth game. BioWare, I need a fourth game. I need Shepard to be alive. I did the good ending. I did the perfect destroy ending. I need Shepard to come back. I need him to come back to find Tally. If not, I'll be sad. I'll be very sad and disappointed. I'll be very sad. Anyways, Zaid. He's like, I don't know. He's okay. I'll put him above Caden, the wet piece of cardboard. What I like about Zaid, his loyalty mission was pretty cool. I like in the sense that, again, you have a lot of choices. You can save the workers. You can go after the leader of the Blue Suns. And if you save the workers instead, and you know the mission kind of goes to crap, you can choose to leave him. You can choose to leave him to die, which I think is really funny because he is a renegade and you know his loyalty is questionable. When you leave him to die, he goes, "Shepard!" and just explodes.
Shepard!
And that moment was so funny to me. It was so funny to watch. So yeah, that's why I put him above the wet piece of cardboard. Samara, I'm gonna put her in D tier too. I think her place in the universe as an Asari Justicar is very interesting, and I liked learning about it. And I liked her loyalty mission. Her loyalty mission was pretty cool. It was different from a lot of the other loyalty missions. And giving the choice to choose between Samara and Morith was also kind of cool. But who would actually pick Morith? Like, that's crazy. She kind of, again, takes the backseat position in the third game, even though she's not DLC. Kind of like in the same vein as Jack. But I know you can attempt to pursue a romance with her, but like it never goes anywhere from what I've seen online. Like it never goes because of her Justicar code. And like, why put a romance into the game if you're intentionally gonna write that it's not gonna go anywhere? That to me is not compelling at all. Like I can't foresee anyone being like, oh yeah, I romance Samara and I get absolutely nothing for it in return in terms of character development or like funny scenes or anything. Like why would you do that? And it seems like they kind of just dropped the ball with her character. I know she has a small moment in Citadel DLC, but again, like it's not like a confirmed relationship like with Caden or Jacob or Miranda, or I'm just looking at people on the screen right now. You know, like it's not like a confirmed relationship. So like to me, it's kind of pointless. Not really a fan of it. But that's just my opinion. And I'm looking at it now, and we're done the list. Completed the list of all of your companions in the game that you can bring with you on mission. Awesome. Do I want to change anything? No, I like this list. What do you guys think? Agree? Disagree? Thoughts? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Mass Effect, BioWare, I need a fourth game. I need a fourth game. Fourth game. It's been over a decade. Fourth game? Alright, that's enough.